Okay, well, Darrell, it's January, got to ask the question, what's been going on in and outs?
Straight in that. Listen, nothing's changed from what I said last week. A few knockbacks, a few players I'm talking to. We'll see how things develop, and not really changed really. You'll hear as soon as we sign someone in. It's done and dusted. So the hunt continues.
Yeah, and you've always been quite a patient manager. You've never been one to sort of go bull at a china shop at it.
Well, you can't. To be honest with you, you can't afford to, because the recruitment's so key, and certainly recruitment when you're trying to overachieve and push yourself in the top half of the table. But the sums of money. I mean, I mentioned it early in the season. You know, there's £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 a week being spent on League One players now, and it's a lot of money for the standard of players you can get, and we're never going to be in that ballpoint. So we got to manage our recruitment very carefully and make sure that the players are coming for the right reasons, because previously we certainly had some players at the club that weren't here for the right reasons, and it doesn't do the club the good in the long haul. So that's why I'll be patient while still trying to get those permanent signings and trying to come away from the loans if I possibly can. If not, in the last week of the window, I'll have to bump the squad up with a few loans.
And do you think that players are getting that kind of money from, I'm sure some of the big clubs in League One can pay that, but do you think there are other clubs that are maybe overextending themselves at the moment?
Well, I think sometimes there's desperation. Is that the right word? Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't put your club good in the long haul. I mean, there's clubs certainly in around the bottom four that have spent fortunes. So there's no guarantees on what you spend and whatnot. It's about players coming into our group of players and us developing them into better players and having one or two proven players. So it's just about getting that balance right and making sure that when they do come and they do sign on the dotted line, that they're ready to do the club justice.
So Bernard's had another week of training, getting to know people. I guess that always helps, just integrating people.
It is, but let's not expect a lot from too much from Bernard too early. He's a relatively young lad, and he's only been with the group a week or so. But he's shown great potential. We know what the player's all about, and he can be a match winner on his day. But there certainly won't be no massive amount of pressure put on him from himself to hit the ground running. He'll try and hit the ground running, obviously. But we'll see how he copes, and I'm sure he'll do very well for the club, not on the short term and long term.
Okay, Bradford this weekend. It had obviously a bad result last time out, but very much up there, and one of those teams.
Yeah, Bradford are a top 6 team, aren't they? So that's where they are. They established themselves there last season, and they've established themselves there this season. So obviously one of the better teams in the league, having a little bit of a dippy spell, but that can happen in this league. That's the nature of how competitive it is.
Yeah, the away record is unbelievable. I think they've won 9 of their 13 games, so they're actually better away from home than they are at Valley Parade.
Yeah, no, certainly a very impressive away record, but we're decent at home as well, so it sets up to be a good game.
And they're another team that they're hit a little bit by injuries, but they try and play some decent football. I know the pitch isn't necessarily going to help, but it could be a decent game. Yeah,
we certainly hope so. I mean, Saturday's game was an awful game, to be honest with you. The Blackpool game wasn't a game on high quality, and their pitch was just as bad as ours, to be honest, for different reasons, and so it didn't really set up the game really. Although we could have won it certainly in the last 15 minutes with the best chances of the game. So you just got to cope with conditions, cope with whatever comes in your way, and make sure the squad's adaptable to do that. And Saturday's another home game for ourselves.
Yeah, and do you find that you have to adapt at this time of the year anyway, because you're going to get pitches that, whether it's yours or somebody else, that aren't as good as they're going to be in August or May?
Yeah, that's football. You just got to adapt to try and win games. That's the nature of the beast, and it's no different to what I've worked since I've come in the club. Saturday's another project against a good team in Bradford with a very good manager.